All right, thank you so much, Kelly. It's time now for Sports and the Law, which means I'm joined by our sports legal analyst. There you go, Steve Moskowitz. It's always nice to have him here, even though we talk about some very serious topics. And this one is one that's really grabbed national attention just because it happens on every college campus. So a Stanford football player was accused of rape by a fellow student on campus. The story is told by the New York Times was that they met at a fraternity party. They went back to her room where she accused him of raping her. He said the sex was consensual. But the thing I have is that she went to university advisory board with it instead of the police. They voted, in essence, 3-2 that a rape probably did occur, but then they changed the procedure and said, okay, 4 of the panelists need to decide if it happened or not, and then it needed to be unanimous because they keep changing the rules. So the student is so upset, she has temporarily left school. The player obviously is allowed to keep going to classes and play football because he hasn't been legally charged with anything. But why does she not go to the police? Why go to a university set-up advisory board with a legal issue?
That's the troubling part, because most victims would immediately go to the police, so that's one of the problems. Had she done that, then you'd have a police investigation, but she didn't. Now, what she said was she just wanted him to stay away. Now, one way to do that is just say, don't ever get anywhere near me, or I'm going to do it. But again, if anybody came to me and said she was a victim of rape, I'd say immediately report it to the police.
Yeah, because the university, can they be culpable? It's sort of like if you're in charge of taking care of minors and you know of maybe some abuse, you have to report that. But can the university, if a student comes to them and charges another student with something as serious as rape, can the university have any type of legal?
Possibly, but there's a real balancing act because both parties have rights. Because, yes, if she's been victimized, then the fellow should be punished. On the other hand, and we see from some other famous cases, that if it's a false accusation, they have the problem. It's sort of like if you had a daughter, you'd feel one way. If you had a son, you'd feel the other way. You want to balance it. And you will never get people to agree, because some people say if the accusation is made, he's guilty. The other people say prove it, and that's the balancing act that nobody is going to be happy with.
So the university, in essence, is just setting its own rules in this case and letting the students come to them.
Yes, but the problem is this is something that should be handled by law enforcement, not the university.
Yeah.
The university is not the police department. If someone attacks you, you go to the police and say, John Smith attacked me.
Can she still go?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. It's just upsetting all around. It's
very upsetting. She has both criminal and civil rights against him, too. She could go to the police, and she could sue him.
Okay. Real quickly as well, we go to the Sugar Bowl, and Oklahoma running back Joe Mixon. Now, in 2014, he was caught on videotape punching a woman, and as a result of that punch, she broke her jaw and her cheekbone. Now, he was suspended for the team and didn't start playing for Oklahoma until 2015. He also received a deferred prison sentence and community service. So he plays in the Sugar Bowl. One of the commentators talks about how he was very remorseful and that how, he wishes him well in his future. But video has since been released of the incident, and now this caused quite an uproar. Just first of all, how does he get a deferred sentence, and can he face any more legal ramifications?
Yes, first, that's very common when the judge says, okay, I'm not going to punish you for this one, but if you do something else, you'll be punished for both of them. That's commonly done. She was the one that did not want the video released because, as you remember, initially she was the aggressor. She went over and pushed him. However, where there's the problem, he really hit her, and he's an athlete. He gave her a shot like a boxer, and the bottom line was she didn't have the right to, if there were racial slurs, to say that. She didn't have the right to push him. But on the other hand, you need an appropriate response, like don't say that or leave, but not to hit her like that.
Okay. Very difficult issues.
Very difficult.
Moskowitz. Thank you so much for giving a little bit of light to some...
Welcome to law. It's always a balancing act, and whatever you do, no, you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, it's always in hindsight, right? I wish we knew it.
Oh, nothing like good old hindsight.
All right. Well, for NFL fans, there is no better time than the present. Our panel will